Hello, my name's Jane and I'm the Cornish Knitter. This is my channel where I talk about my knitting, my life as a over 60-year-old, and also my hometown here in Falmouth in Cornwall in the UK. So if you've watched me before, welcome back. But if you're new to me, do remember to like and subscribe, and please do comments, because I do love to read your comments afterwards. Last time I spoke to you was between Christmas and New Year, Twixmas, and I shared a little bit about what I've been knitting, of course, but also about my thoughts about, as I was approaching Christmas, I was finding life a little bit overwhelming, and I've sort of been reflecting on that since. I reflected a little bit, and I've sort of been really trying to put in place some things that will help me live a more intentional sort of life, and just thinking about being over 60. Life's really too precious to waste time on things that don't serve me and don't really bring me joy. I'd love to know, and I'll ask you probably again later, what do you do to make your life a little bit slower and a little bit more intentional? So many of you commented last time about feeling the same way and the need to sort of review the pace of life, and as we get older, you know, what we do with it. I think back to when probably my parents were sort of at the same age. I think the expectations on them, and probably the pressure we put on ourselves, was very different. I'm not to say that they didn't have their own pressures, because they probably did, but yeah, it's I just think that the pace of life at the moment, and I think who we are in our 60s and what we want to still achieve, there's so much I still want to do. But I do realise that I'm sort of reaching the point where I need to balance things a little bit more. And I thought I'd share a little bit in my video today about sort of some of the things that I've been doing. I don't see slow living, intentional living, whatever you call it, as a luxury. I sort of see it as essential, really, for me, for my health and well-being. And I know a number of you feel the same. So I just wanted to share what's working for me, what I'm struggling with a little bit in letting go, in terms of, and sort of adopting new habits. But I'm only making small changes in my daily life and my business life. So I'm not sort of doing necessarily less, just learning to do things a little bit differently and appreciating what I've got and where I am at the moment, and that's not always easy, but I thought I like to be open and honest, so I thought I'd share with you what I've been doing, as well as a little bit about my knitting, what I've been doing, but also, you know, some of the struggles I have about doing that. I think knitting lends itself to, and crafting lends itself to, that more sort of emotionally intelligent, sort of introspective look at ourselves, and it allows us that time to breathe. But where I was finding myself the latter part of 2024 was like knitting to be productive, like a machine, to get things out, and it sort of stripped the joy out of what I was doing a little bit. And I just like to be honest about that, because, you know, knitting is not just my hobby, it's my business too, and I do want to do something that brings me joy too. I'm going to pop in a little video because I also mentioned caring for my elderly parents. I'm just going to pop in a little video, but thank you so much for all your comments about my dad. But I'm just going to share something with you now. I mentioned last time that my dad had a nasty fall in the garden, and I just wanted to take this time to thank you all for your lovely messages about my dad, and just to reassure you that he is up and about again. And as you can see, I've got him out walking out on the seafront. His confidence is coming back on his feet, and he does love a walk out along the around the beaches. So this is a bit of a favourite walk for us, and I'm just so happy to see him being able to get out and enjoy it again. Mum isn't with us because she always wants to go shopping at the supermarket. I think it's probably just her little bit of release. She just really enjoys browsing food shops and loves her cooking, so that's for her. But Dad, I'm so pleased that he's out again, and once again, just thank you for everybody that commented, and let's hope he doesn't fall again. I'll wear his slippers out in the garden. So let's talk about what I'm wearing first. I've got on a Sophie scarf. I knitted this up. I tend to do these where I knit just half of the yarn I've got up to the centre stage, and then the other half I do the decrease side of it. This is knitted in Camerose Hurst, which is a super soft, it's got some alpaca in, super soft yarn, which is sort of a worsted weight, I think. I also embroidered these little daisies on it because I just thought they added to the scarf. I tend to just pop these on when my neck's feeling a bit cold, and it was just a good, easy, no hassle knit. The other one that I did, and I know lots of you have knitted these, this is the Water Lap Shawl by Steph Thornton of Perrin Yarns, knitted in her yarn. We will be getting some more of these in soon, this yarn again soon, but I just knitted this up because I really like the size. I'll put it over the top of my Sophie scarf. I really like the size of it and the drapiness and the feel of it. So a great little pattern for using up one skein of nice fingering weight yarn. A really, really nice thing to do. The other thing that I had been knitting on was I think it's called, just let me check, it is called the Mosaic Project Carpet Bag, which is by Marie Wallen. Here is my knitted, I've obviously got the two sides of it. It was a mosaic knitting, and I'm at the point now where I have to join the two sides together. So you join them here. I think you join it from memory, right side's facing, so you join them here, and then you open it up and you create a pattern to cut out some fabric that goes on the inside. And I chose this fabric because I thought it would go really nicely with the colours in that. And so you partly hand sew, or you can machine sew. I did have a button, and then you do a button. Here is the picture of it finished. So I did get just a nice sort of plain button, which I thought was a nice sort of complement to that, to go on the outside to join it. So I will be joining that in the next few days, and I will show you the finished bag when I finished it. But I really enjoyed that bit of colour work, mosaic. It was a pre-book kit. In fact, I think from this kit, it came in this bag, I think if I look in here, I don't know if I can show you this very adequately, but I have probably enough yarn to knit another bag. So I think because you get a ball of each, and they're all, I think they're 25 grams. Are they 25 or 50? Yeah, 25 gram balls. I think I've got enough. Maybe I might stretch on one or two of the colours, but I don't think so. I've probably got enough to do another bag. So that is a good result. Certainly I could use it for a hat, or, you know, mittens, colourwork mittens, or anything else. So that's cool. In my process of knitting intentionally and not sort of stressing myself out too much at the moment, I am knitting, I just realised I'm sort of knitting half. I am knitting the Sunday Wrap, which is a free pattern. I'm going to hold it like this, which is a free pattern from Espace Tricot. It's a double knit. I'm knitting it in double knit anyway, just in a plain brown. The pattern is really easy. It's increase from the central stitch. You create a little garter stitch tab here at the top, and then increase from the center stitch, and then it's just got a little bit of twisted rib detail every few inches, a few centimeters, and then on the outer border, before you do the final rib, there is a row of bobbles, which I think I might do in a cream color just to highlight them, or I might do them in a sort of darker brown. I haven't decided yet, but I just wanted a plain shawl that I could wear with anything. Easy to knit, bit of mindless knitting again, as you do. And yeah, this was it. So yeah, I will share my progress on that. I talked about the spot sweater last time. I still haven't really picked that back up again from Anne Venzel. I couldn't think of her name. I haven't picked that up again yet, but I will do at some stage. I will pick it up and decide whether I'm going to knit it or not. I probably wasn't in the right frame of mind between Christmas and New Year, and just didn't want to do anything that I had to think about too much. But she has brought out her a version of the spot sweater, which is a slightly different shape. I think it's got thinner arms, whereas the original one had the broader arms, and the raglan was a much deeper raglan, whereas this new one, which I think is called the basic, I will pop it below, actually sort of comes down here. So I quite like that. And Thea Coleman has brought out a new pattern, which I can't remember. Oh dear. Well, again, I will pop that up and below, but that is one I am thinking of knitting. Just gone. It's gone. It's got like a crisscrossy thing on it. Oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I will pop it up below, and I will share with you whether I've done any more of that when I next speak to you. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm sort of just really trying to. I began to feel before Christmas that everything was rushing by, and all I can describe it like, to me, how it felt like, was being on a treadmill that was going faster and faster, and I couldn't get off of it, and you know, it was unsustainable. So things that I've decided to have a go at and to try to do is to sort of think about what I need to let go of and what I need to do more of. So the first thing that I've sort of been thinking of is this need to rush, this drastic need to push myself to be productive all the time, and that's with my knitting, or whether that's with life or work. I'm not somebody that sits easily and just is. I have to be doing something. Even when I'm sort of sitting and I'm knitting, I need to be listening to something or watching something. You know, I'm sort of, my mind's always whirring. So one of the things I need to sort of really, I know it sounds silly, but I need to really focus on trying to slow down and accept that not every moment of my waking day needs to be productive. I think it's something I'm going to struggle with because it's not my temperament, and it's a habit that I'm going to have to really learn. And what I'm trying to do is, I do love to get up early. I love to knit in the mornings. I've done that sort of quite religiously for a long time, but I'm making sure I carve out space to do that now, whereas before I would grab the opportunity, but now it's sort of, it's a non-negotiable. So if somebody wants me to do something early, I need to think, actually, is that right for me, or will that rush my morning routine? So just learn to think about that. And sort of along with that goes this sort of thing about perfectionism. I'm sort of really sort of driven by, not with my knitting. I can accept mistakes with my knittings, but when I do something, I want to do it to the absolute best of my ability. And accepting that good enough is sometimes good enough is another hard one for me. And it's going to be something that I'm going to have to almost coach myself into doing at times in the day. But I do think I just need to think of them as not making mistakes or doing anything that's not up to standard. It's about learning and understanding that, you know, I can learn from those times and do things differently next time and maybe make it better. But if it's okay as it is, and I need to be happy with that. My next one is around people pleasing, really. So I need to stop worrying what people think of me, which is weird talking on a YouTube video, isn't it? Where everybody forms an opinion of you. But I think I need to set my own boundaries, really, because people ask me to do things, and because I do genuinely want to help people, but also sometimes I just need to learn to say no to things that are either going to stretch me in terms of my time and strip away time, or also things that I really is not going to sort of bring me any joy. So I need to get the best out of work, life, and the people, and just stop sort of trying to say yes to everybody all the time when it doesn't actually serve me to do it. And I know that sounds a little bit selfish, but again, I found that I sort of sometimes can say yes to things, and then afterwards I'm thinking, why did I do that? Because I'm sort of trying to squeeze other things into my diary, which is already pretty hectic. And just sometimes it just means that my life becomes really much harder. It's not that I don't want to do things for people, it's just it eats into any time that I can set aside for myself, and I need to stop myself from doing that. So I'm going to hope you hold me to account for some of these as well. Which really leads me on to like that prioritizing me time and my creativity. I talked last time about sort of taking up, learning to throw pots, do some pottery. I have that booked in. I will do that. I found a gift voucher from my children for a spa day at a beautiful hotel in Cornwall. And I realised it had nearly expired because I had it for Mothering Sunday last year. So note to self, I need to book that spa day and go and do it. I need to meet friends. And I also want to do a little bit more of hobbies that are not just linked to knitting, because knitting, whilst I love it, and knitting and crochet, it's also my job. And so I think sometimes even when I'm knitting for myself, my mind automatically goes to thinking about work, and I need to do something that probably distracts me in a completely different way. So one of the things I have done is some floss tube. So this little critter here, you can't really tell what he is from that. I found this, I went through some of my old stuff, and I found this tucked away in an old box, and I'd started it, but it was it's all crumpled. This is how old it is. It is a little design, and it is by Valerie Pfeiffer. It's called Trios. I had a look yesterday to see what else she does, and I couldn't see this particular one on there, but she does do other ones. Anyway, I sort of picked this up and just cross stitch, not too difficult. I just really enjoyed it, and it wasn't work related, so that was a good thing for me. And I need to do more of that. Have sort of arranged to meet up with friends a little bit more often, and just really sort of making sure that I allow space and time in my diary to do these things spontaneously as well, so that they're not always planned, that I can react to something spontaneously when it's a beautiful day today, when the weather's nice, and I can say, yes, I'd love to do that. So that sort of don't overcommit and do things that drain my energy. I'm having to learn not to do this. And some of you might think, why do you need to learn to do that? I think it's my personality type. It's the way I've always been at work. I've worked since I was 16 years old, and apart from having children and having a very short period of time off, 3 months for both, once they were born, I have worked all my life, and I don't know any different, and I don't know how to behave differently. So it is about learning new skills, and these are skills that I will have to learn and I will potentially struggle with as well, and have to give myself some mental coaching. Some I'm going to be better at than others, and I'd really love to hear from you about what has worked for you. What have you let go that's really worked for you? And what things do you really struggle to let go of that you think you probably should do to live a sort of happier, healthier life? Particularly as we get older and into our 60s, when we have a lot of demands on us, but B, also those sort of things, worrying about our health and well-being as well. So I just ending with a little clip of me trying to do some of those things that I've talked about. I have started a journal too, not a super difficult one with loads of images, because when I thought about doing it in previous years, I then again immediately skipped into, oh, it needs to look perfect. It needs to have all this illustration in it. It needs to be all set out. Actually, no, for me this year, it needs to just be recording how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, and just those thoughts and nothing else. So that's one thing I've been doing. So I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been a sort of different type of video, but I do hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you'll share with me your thoughts about what I've spoken about and some of the struggles that I've had. I will do a separate Cornish Gansey video in the next couple of weeks, where I'll announce the giveaway winner and talk a little bit about my my plans for my Cornish Gansey and how I'm setting about the design and everything else. So I look forward to seeing you again soon. Do like and subscribe and comment, and see you again soon. One of the things I like to do is take myself down to the beach and just take a hot coffee on a really breezy day, make sure I'm dressed up warm, and then just take my knitting down and just sit and watch and listen to the sea. I find it so relaxing and so calming, and it's one of my favourite things to do. to stay for very long, but even just a short time, just down on the beach, just breathing in that sea air, watching the sea, and just relaxing is all I really need. So off home I go, feeling refreshed and relaxed and ready for the rest of the day.